Well, good evening. Welcome to the Six Bugle Podcast. I'm your host, Rudy Ruiz, and also here is my co-host, Christy Hensler.
Hello.
Christy, how are you doing?
Hi. How are you? We need to find a different question. I'm going to find you one for next week. I'm doing fine. So I've been a bit overwhelmed, but I've been working on I was talking about yesterday and I was like, listen, just what's the next right step right now, you know? And so sometimes when you're that, when you look at the big pictures, it's completely overwhelming. You really have to bring it back to be like, what's the
Yeah,
next one or two things I need to do? And then, build from there. So.
yeah, exactly. Which is interesting because that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today is when you're looking at the big picture and you have to break it down to smaller steps or even your bigger picture is your goal, but how do you reach that goal by narrowing it down
mm.
to the finer, smaller steps? I recently read a book called Chasing Failure. It's by I think it's on there, Ryan Leake. Ryan Leake was one of the speakers at the Maxwell conference last year, and man, he was dynamic. So if you ever get a chance to hear him speak, he's on LinkedIn, Facebook. He also has some videos on YouTube. So if you get a chance, check him out. He's very dynamic. He tells this great story about how he proposed to his wife, seeing each other for like 4 years, and he heard her say once to a friend, "Wouldn't it be neat if we got married the same day he proposed?"
Oh
So
no.
for 4 years, he planned this out. And when
Oh
he
my God.
proposed to her, she said yes. And he opened up this big curtain, and there was hundreds of people. All their friends and family were there, and the hairdresser was there, the wedding dress was there, they had the fitting, and they got married on the same day. So that is on YouTube. So it's pretty interesting.
Yes.
And because of that, he got, real popular. He was on the morning shows and so forth. So he got real popular for that. And his dream was to play in the NBA, but he wasn't a very good player. He played basketball, but he wasn't very good. So what he did was he just sent emails to every NBA team and asked them, "Hey, I'd like to do this documentary on someone just walking off the street and playing for an NBA team." And one team after another just said, "No, I'm sorry, we're not interested." But finally, the Phoenix Suns said, "Yeah, let's do this." And he got a shot. And of course, he failed miserably, but he did. He did it. And so he got to talk about how his experience was. And basically, what came out of that was chasing failure and how we shouldn't be afraid of failure. We should embrace it and understand that it is part of a life, and there are things that you can learn from it. And but more importantly, just not be afraid of it. And I think there's a lot of times people out there avoid certain situations or avoid decisions that could have been possibly meant for them in their lives, but they just were so afraid that they didn't want to take that giant leap that they stayed away from it. And
Yes.
unfortunately, years later end up regretting it. So that's one thing you don't, that regret is more painful than the fear that you're going to have when you do approach that very specific situation. So a couple points I want to make. And what I've been doing lately is that when I read a book, I post it on my LinkedIn page and I give a brief summary. I
Oh,
try to
nice.
I try to select when I just kind of look at the cover and the table of contents and then the back cover. And then I ask myself, what do I want to learn from this book? And I ask myself three questions. And I usually post that on my LinkedIn page. And then I read the book and to answer those questions that I have and highlight them. And then I make notes on them and then I post it. So I don't just read the book, I kind of study it. And
Okay.
this year I've been trying to do that once a week, but this year I'm really going to focus on posting my notes once a week. So the first year the first week I missed because all the holidays and all this stuff going on.
Hmm.
I want to try to that's my goal. So
Okay.
I'm
I'm gonna
reaching out
ask
to
you on
all
the
of
next
you,
podcast.
my
Okay.
accountability partners, right? It doesn't happen if you don't say it. So now I got people
Hmm.
that I have to live up to my promise, and I hope you're all my accountability partners. So anyway, on the first point I wanted to make on chapter 4, he's got a chapter called "Never Give Up" ish. And the funny part about this is he has quotes by famous people to start off the chapter, and this one is by Stephen Wright, famous comedian. He says, "If at first you don't succeed, destroy all evidence that you tried." That way no one will know that you didn't you failed, right? But his point here is that when people say never give up, sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not true, because it may not be what your true dream is. It may not be what your purpose is. And he's saying never give up is an encouraging advice, but it's not always wise. I also believe that it's just as important to know when you should indeed give up on one dream so that you can grab a hold of a better one. So when you're going through this process, as you're learning through things, you may end up finding yourself, well, this isn't for me, that I should be doing something else. You hear a lot of those stories about college
Mhm.
students changing their majors midstream.
Yes.
And I did that. I first started studying political science because I really like the history of the American presidents and politics. And
Mhm.
one of the local judges here in town, that was a good family friend of ours. When I told him that, he said, "What are you studying?" I said, "Political science." He laughed and goes, "What are you going to do with that?" And then I just realized, oh my gosh, I don't know. It's a it's a precursor to law school, but I didn't want to go to law school. I was just very intrigued with political history, so I had to change my major. So he says you should, before you never give up on a dream, you should understand the distinction between what is supposed to be your career and what is simply a hobby.
Mhm.
And that's exactly what was going through me. So that kind of really touched me to my heart there. The other point is I want to make is in chapter 8, he says, "All I do is win." And what he means by that is he says a dream without a plan is just hope. And then we talked about this in the previous podcast,
Mhm.
how you should make sure you plan things out so that you're kind of
Mhm.
staying on track. And just like I said earlier, this in this podcast, having an accountability partner.
Mhm.
You have to think about what needs to be done this month, what needs to be done for overall goal, what needs to be done this week, and then what needs to be done today. If you start
Mhm.
breaking it down, then it's an easier goal that you're setting for yourself. That you're not thinking about the big picture, right? You're not thinking, man,
Mhm.
I gotta get to 5,000 likes and it's not
Mhm.
happening. And then you get frustrated and you're looking at that bigger goal, forgetting about the things that you should be doing in between. Those are the things that you should be focusing on
Mhm.
so that you're not looking at the goal itself. You're looking at the smaller wins as you progress. And if you're looking at the smaller wins, then you get more encouraged as to doing what you need to do. That makes sense?
Mhm. Yes.
Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think a couple thoughts is the failure thing. Yeah, I think when you can shift your mindset where you're not maybe not afraid to fail is an overstatement because there's always fear involved to some point, I think, with everybody. But when you just accept the fact that I am going to fail, but I'm going to use that to learn and grow and move on,
Yeah.
then that frees you to kind of go after life and your dreams or hopes or plans or whatever you want to do, the small stuff, the big stuff and do it because you know like okay failure is going to come in there but I know how to take it learn from it move on
Right.
whatever you and so instead of just like feeling paralyzed where like I can't do this unless I know I'm not going to fail like you're never going to do it it's analysis paralysis and
Right.
because you're just
Right.
going to sit there so I do agree that I think regret like you said is there's so many people, I can think of people in my own life that are like, I hear them when they talk, I wish if I would have did this, if I would have did, and
Right.
it's like, don't do that. And then, yeah, I do think, you do have to though I'm a realist at heart. You do have to be realistic of like, is this goal, is this dream? Do I have the abilities to do it? Am I able to get the resources to do it? Do I have the skills to do it? Can I get the skills to do it? You have to be realistic about that so that moving forward that you can actually get there,
Right. Right.
And so I do think there is some sense of like, and if not, then be real enough with yourself to go, I just need to pivot like you did
Right.
in your studies to move forward into something that you can really do.
Right.
And so, but yeah, breaking it down is, I mean, I've been doing this in my own life right now with my business and with other stuff. And Matt and I, just trying to really get back to like, okay, what do we need to do for the next month?
Yeah.
And then evaluate. Then what
Right.
do we need? Because it can be so while the end goal keeps you focused and moving, you feel like you're never going to get there
Right.
if you don't set the small steps.
Right. And
So,
that's how you monitor your progress. If I
yes,
can get through this day, that's all I'm asking myself. You got to
right.
be fair. with yourself and say, I just got
Right.
to get through this day. And if I meet these goals, ultimately, when they add up, because I already figured it out, what I want at the end of the year is divided by 12, divided by 30. And
Right.
so long as I get to that first goal, I am, instead of saying I'm not
Yes.
anywhere near there, but you can say, but I'm getting there and
Yes.
I'm getting closer because I did accomplish today,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
Or I did more than what I told
Hmm.
myself I was going to accomplish today. Big
Yes.
dreams, big hopes, understand that. But it's if you break it down, you'll be surprised. And you know
Hmm.
as much as I do, Christy, that a lot of times things just happen and
Yes.
you get there a lot quicker. So you never know. So
Yes.
don't give up on your dreams, but also understand that you're meant to do something, you're meant to be someone, but there's going to be other people that are going to either get in your way or that are going to help
Hmm.
you. So
Yes.
remember the relationships talk we had
Yes.
a while ago. So that's when
Hmm.
that piece comes in. So be aware of all
But you
that.
have to do the work to prepare yourself. I was just talking to my kids about this yesterday on another subject, but I was like, when the opportunity knocks, that's not your time to be like, oh my gosh, I have to get ready. Like now is your time to be preparing and doing the work and doing what you need to do for that. So when the opportunity does knock, you're like, I'm
You're
ready.
ready. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
ready. Absolutely.
Because when it does, it's too late to then get ready.
Yep, absolutely.
So,
All right. Great discussion.
yes.
We'll have this on our Facebook page. I have the notes for the cliff notes, if you will, or
Cliff
this.
Notes. And we're looking for your book reviews on LinkedIn. So,
Yeah, yeah. I've already got some good feedback on it already, so
okay.
I know who my super fans are. But yeah,
Okay.
I'd like to get that out there and see what people think. Even the criticism, I appreciate that too.
Yeah.
That always helps because I won't
Helps.
know. And I tell people this in
Yes.
conferences, be brutally honest. It's the only way I'm going to grow.
Hmm.
And I understand
Yes.
that people are going to do that. And I appreciate that. All right. Thank you once again, Christy. Certainly do appreciate
Hmm.
our conversations. And we hope we help some people out there. And I know that there's a lot of love out there for you and for what we're trying to do, trying to accomplish. And we're looking forward to the conference in September. So make sure
Yes.
that you register soon. And we should have our website up by the time this recording is done. So we should.
Recording. Okay. And what is that website again?
It's
Six Beagle dot.
www.the6bugle.org.
Okay.
So
So yes, go
registration,
register
yeah,
and
registration will be there.
spread the word.
Hotel link will be there. Very nice hotel,
Okay.
and of course it'll be during the farmers market. So we have a lot of fun going out there, and some new things that we're going to introduce this time around, just to kind of build on that relationship piece that we enjoy doing. And of course, there's going to be a lot of knowledge for you and knowledge that you can bring back to your fire department. So that's going to be some good stuff.
Yes.
All right. All
Awesome.
right. Thanks again. Thanks for joining us on the Six People Podcast. We'll see you soon. Take care.